meaty mushrooms for 94p. Or for £1.24, slice these sweet potatoes into a fiery curry. Six. Where are you? C-E-X.
Hi folks, my name is Adam and I like to make normal-sized nerdy things. And last week I made a knife. This week, however, I'm gonna make a gun named Kenny. Right off the bat, to help give Kenny some rigidity and to keep both the weight and cost down, I'm gonna build myself a little aluminum armature that I can just slap the clay on top of. Once I've got roughly the right size for the body, I can bend the back end down into a grip, which I can then elongate until it's just about the correct thickness. Exact same thing for the middle of the gun in order to keep it somewhat balanced, and I'm ready to apply a thin layer of clay over the entire surface. No, because I plan on walking around my house shooting and stabbing everything I see, I don't want the body to have any obvious mounting points or holes, which means it's a bit of a pain to sculpt without smooshing all the detail. Fortunately, being a horrifying living gun with a face, Kenny has a lot of droopy overlapping parts, which means I should be able to break them down into sections to sculpt and bake. This way I'll always have a hard surface to hold on to while I work on the subsequent sections. Now with that being said, I'm going to start at the end, and by that I mean I'm going to start by making Kenny's butthole. I mean his barrel. Basically, I wanted a taco.
So I'm punching customers' face for calling me a baloney. It ended up costing me my job. So the only option I got is to join the mob.
To make the pistol grip, I'll grip the pistol, then add the sections of clay between my fingers to ensure that it fits my hand perfectly. Then I can smooth the joints between the sections of clay before getting to work adding the detail. I'll start with the vein that runs down the
So you want now.
smoothing and blending it out to the joints evenly with the rest of the clay before getting to work adding what I'm going to call Kenny's 6-pant pistol grip abs. These will get blended together and smoothed into the rest of the grip, and I'll add some little blobs of clay here and there to help build up the back side of the grip so that it fits a bit better in hand. Then it's just a case of sticking a set of 6 teeny tiny blobs of clay onto the inside portion of the grip, then smoothing them into points. These are, of course, the wrinkles that come standard on any commercially available sidearm. Now, I don't know much about guns, but I'm fairly confident that these are anatomically correct. Finally, before Kenny goes into the oven for his first bake, I'll give the surface some nice skin-like texture by first swiping everything with a sharp silicone shaper. Then I'll crack out a pair of blue nitrile gloves, which have these perfect little grippy textures on the tip. With the gloves on, all I need to do is gently poke and prod the whole surface, and that texture will transfer into the clay. Then it's into the oven to bake, and I can get started on the underside. I'll start by sticking an oversized lump of clay onto the bottom of Kenny's pistol belly before roughly blending it in to give it some shape, and then I can cut away the excess until I've got the correct size. Otherwise, with the general shape sorted out, I can start to add the finer details. A spiky dealie will complete the trigger, and a series of wormy dealies will complete the various pipes and tubey bits that make up the majority of Kenny's underside. The trick to making organic looking slices is to keep the sharp edges to a minimum. So once I've built up enough detail, I'll come back and blend all the harsh edges together with a ball strider and some silicone shapers, followed by a heavy once-over with isopropyl alcohol. Then, same as I did for the grip and the tip, I'll hit it with a 1-2 combo of swipes and pokes to give the whole thing a bit more of a skin-like texture. Then it's into the oven again before moving on to the final section. Kenny's top side is both the largest and most detailed section, and it's also the part of the sculpt that'll get the most attention for obvious reasons. I also wasn't really sure how to get the proportions and shape right, so I just did what I always do, start slapping clay over the model and hope that I somehow fail my way upwards to success. Eventually, I reached a point where adding clay wasn't working, so I started the next step of the process, which is taking clay away until it looks kinda almost sorta correct. Thankfully, at this point, I was starting to come together, so some wormy dealies wrapped up and over the top with one side blended in gave me a set of flappy skin plates. All that's left to do then is refine the shape, smooth them out a little bit more so they look a little more natural, then I can cut them down to their final form. Just Despite the already oven-geared sections, Kenny's kinda hard to hold, so we'll give him a bamboo skewer enema, then mount that into a sculpting block. This will make it easier to add some of the finer details without messing up the overall shape. With majority of the detail and texture added to the body, and with all the sharp edges smoothed out, I can finally get to work on his face. I've pre-baked a couple big round eyeballs that I'll press into place, then I can bulk out the mouth with an extra thick wood. Pull Kenny off his butt-mounted bamboo support, then sketch out his fine smile with my scalpel, refine the shape with my sculpting tool, then hollow out the inside with some carving tools. A couple of strategically placed blobs around the edge of his mouth will help to widen his grin and give him some big, cheeky cheek wrinkles. Then once I've smoothed it all out, I can start to add his big rounded teeth. I made these off camera by rolling a ball of clay, squishing it slightly flat, then cutting it in half and baking it so I can aggressively press it into place in the soft, uncured clay of Kenny's gums. To give his eyes a bit more character, I'll squish a flat one with clay onto the upper portion of each ball, then press it nice and flat to give him a couple happy and expressive eyelids, then a long wormy ditty wrapped around the outside will give his puffy eye sockets. To spruce up the space between his head and his head and his back plates, I'll slap a couple more worms of clay in place, then smooth and blend them together until they're nice and wrinkly. Finally, a final once over with the silicone shapers will smooth all the rough edges out and blend it all together so it looks like a single slab of scented crystal. Now on one side, please help me start. Instead of, hey, I don't know what it is, but it's kind of like a calamari ring with a little other thing inside. Otherwise, I'll poke a couple holes. A final once over with isopropyl alcohol, followed by the old silicone shaper swipey and a blue glove pokey pokey. Those aforementioned antennae are just a couple of wires wrapped in clay and flattened into tips, which can then be pressed. Darker purple that gets sprayed more strategically in and around the wrinkles and holes, then as the main color on top to cross the bridge between the blue and the magenta.
If you don't hit a jackpot in the first 10 spins,
Purple dots using my airbrush, but laziness kept me from the 5 seconds it takes to reduce the pressure on my compressor, so my dots weren't nearly as sharp around the edges as I would have liked. The underbarrel gets a terracotta base coat followed by a darker purple line. Which tosses little blobs of paint onto my model. paint is a little too flat looking, so I'm trading it down along a satin varnish to protect the paint and give it a bit of gloss. All that's left to do then is add a bit of UV resin into each of these glowy green bits on the side.